Yeah, fine guys. Good morning. In the last session, we understood what is Maven and what we can do by using Maven. So tell me, what is Maven and what we can do by using Maven? Maven is a build tool developed by Apache organization, and it is developed by using Java language, and it is a free software. Maven is used to automate build process of the project. It is used to automate the build process of the project. What we can do by using Maven? We can create project folder structure using Maven. We can download required dependencies. When we want to develop a project, only Maven is not sufficient. When only Java is not sufficient. Along with Java, we need to download some jar files, Hibernate, Spring, Spring Boot, etc. So all the jar files, instead of we are downloading, we can tell to Maven to download those dependencies. What are the dependencies it downloaded? We can add the dependencies to the project build path. And by using Maven, we can compile the project source code also. And we can execute unit test cases also by using this Maven. And finally, we can package our project as a jar file or war file by using Maven. In order to work with the Maven, Java setup is required. First, we need to install the Java. We need to set the Java home, then set the path for Java. Download Maven as a zip file. From the Apache website, we can download this Maven zip. We can extract that Maven zip file, and we need to set the Maven home. Once the Maven home setup is completed, then set path for Maven, then verify Maven installation. In order to verify the Maven installation, we will use mvn-v. Let's go for a command prompt. And let me check Java is available or not. Java version. Which version of Java is there? 11 version is available. And mvn-v. What is the meaning of mvn-v? I'm able to verify Maven version in my system. So Maven is working in our system. From now we can use this Maven in order to perform our operations. Let's start how to work with the Maven. Next, first let's understand Maven terminology, guys. Let's understand Maven terminology. To create a project by using Maven, we need to understand this Maven terminology. First one is archetype. In the Maven terminology, the first one that we need to understand is archetype. Archetype, it represents type of project we want to create. Archetype represents type of project we want to create. So do you want to create a standalone project, or do you want to create a web application that we can represent by using this archetype? So here, when you go for quick start, it represents as standalone application. When you go for quick start, it represents as standalone application. And when you go for web app, it represents as web application. When you want to create a Java project by using Maven, you need to specify which archetype you want to use. Archetype represents project template. So for standalone project, one structure will be available. For web application, one structure will be available. If you want to go for standalone project, then you need to select archetype as quick start. If you want to go for web application, then you need to go for web app archetype. So after this archetype is selected, then it will ask for group ID. It represents organization name. That means which company developed this project. That company organization name we will represent as group ID. For example, if you are working for TCS, they will represent as com.tcs. Suppose if you are working for IBM, then they will represent com.ibm. We are doing a training, so we are going to represent as in.ashok, like this. You can give anything as a group ID. Group ID represents who developed that project. Group ID represents which company, which organization developed that project. Now, if you are going for Spring Framework, they will represent group ID as org.spring framework. Like this, group ID will be available. Similarly, we are having another concept called artifact ID. It represents project name. Artifact ID represents project name. So which project we are developing? Example, you can give the artifact ID name as Flipkart_application. We are working on Flipkart application, or we are working on Amazon application, Amazon_app. Like this, we can specify group ID and artifact ID. Group ID represents organization name. Artifact ID represents project name. So Flipkart application, Amazon application, like this, whatever you want to give the name, that name you can configure as artifact ID. Next one, we have version. It represents version of the project. Now you see iPhone 12, iPhone 13, iPhone 14, that is the version of the project they are developing, right? So it represents project version. When we are creating a project, we will specify the version. Here guys, two types of versions will be available for the project. One is called as snapshot. Snapshot version represents the project is under development. So if you give the version as release, that means development completed. Development completed, it is in the production, like this. So for the project, two types of versions will be available. One is called snapshot version. Another one is called release version. Snapshot version represents this project is under development. Release version represents the project development is completed. It is under production. Are you clear? What is artifact ID? It represents name of the project. What is the version? It represents which version of the project. What is your current version of the project? Either it is a snapshot or release. So some people will give snapshot as 0.0.1 snapshot. That means it is the under development. If the project development is completed, we will give the version as release. We'll give the version as release. Perfect. Archetype, type of the project, project template, group ID, organization name, artifact ID, project name, version, what is the current status of the project. And the next one, we will go for packaging type. How you want to package? How you want to package your project? How you want to package your application? Do you want to go for jar package or war package? So when we will go for jar or war, if it is a quick start application, the packaging type will be available as a jar file. For standalone project, we will use the jar file. For web application, we will use the war file. That means how you want to run your project. Once your project development is completed, how do you want to run that project? To run that project, either you want to go with the jar format or you want to go with the war format. That will be represented by packaging structure. Standalone Java projects will be packaged as a jar file. Web applications will be packaged as war file. Are you clear? Next one, there is a concept called Maven goals concept. There is a concept called Maven goals. So these goals are used to perform Maven build process. Goals are used to perform Maven build process. So now here I will go for clean, delete the .class files. Okay, in my project Java code will be available. When we compile the Java program, it will generate the .class file. I want to delete all the .class files in the project. To delete the .class files in the project, we will go for clean goal. And I want to compile my project source code, right? Compile goal is available, compile source code. And we have another goal called test goal is available, execute JUnits of our application. And we have package goal, create jar or war file of our project. Based on the packaging type, it is going to create the jar file or war file. Similarly, there is another goal called install goal. So deploy, or I can say it is store artifact. Store artifact into artifact repository. Maybe Nexus repository, JFrog repositories will be in the real time. So whatever the jar or var is created, to store that jar or var, we are going to use a goal called install goal. Are you getting my point? Yes, tell me, what are the Maven goals available? Clean, compile, test, package, install. Goals are used to perform Maven build process. Clean goal is available, which is used to delete the .class files available in the project. Compile goal is available, which is used to compile source code of our project. Test goal is available to execute JUnits of our application. We are going to create unit test classes in the project. To compile those unit test classes, we will go for JUnits. Package our application as a jar file or var file. By that we are using package goal, and we have install goal, store the artifact into artifact repository. So what is that artifact? We will understand that. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Now let us try to create a Maven project. Guys, here Maven project can be created from command prompt, and you can create from the IDE also. Getting my point? You can create it from the command prompt, and you can create it from the IDE also. I will show you both approaches. All right. Now here, let's go to our folder. I'm taking another folder called Maven Practice. Maven Practice. Currently, I don't have anything in my folder. Let me open CMD from that folder, and I want to create a Maven project. Open the CMD. Command prompt I have opened. From this command prompt, I want to create my Maven project. From this command prompt, I want to create my Maven project. In order to create a Maven project, we should know that command. That command we can get from the Google. Now, so go to Google, create Maven project in CMD. Create the Maven project in the CMD. Okay. Create Maven project in the command line. So you can get that command from Apache software tutorial, Maven in 5 minutes. So here they have given the command in order to create a Maven project. This is the command. Copy this command. Creating Maven project in CMD. You can create the project from the CMD as well as you can create from the IDE also. Now this is the command which is used to create the Maven project. Can you see here? Maven archetype generate. Archetype represents project template. Do you want to go for standalone project or you want to go for web application? Group ID com.mycompany.app. Here I will give the group ID as in.ashokit. Group ID represents what? Group ID represents what? Organization name. Artifact ID represents what? Project name. It is the name as my app. Archetype artifact ID, Maven archetype quick start. What is the meaning of archetype quick start? Standalone application I want to create. Archetype version 1.4 and interactive mode is equal to false. That means whenever I execute only up to this command, it will ask what is the group ID you want, what is archetype you want, what type of project you want to create. It is going to ask several details. Now I don't want Maven to ask the details. Maven, you take the values I am giving in the command. You no need to interact with me. Blindly you create the project, whatever I am giving for you. So you take this command and execute in the CMD. Currently, any project available? No. Go to command prompt, paste this, right click, that command will be pasted, enter. So with this, Maven is going to download the required components and it is created my project. Build success. Now see here, my app is created. Go inside the project. Here what we have? SRC available. And what we have? Pom.xml is available. Go to SRC. Here main available, test available. Inside the main, Java available. Inside the Java, our Java class is also created. Inside the Java, our Java class is also created. Are you getting my point? Yes. So with this, we are able to create our Maven project. We are able to create our Maven project by using this command. Once this Maven project is created, guys, क्या काम कर रहे हो भाई? बर्तन धो रहा है क्या? ब्रेकफास्ट प्रिपेयर कर रहा है? हाँ. Omelette, egg omelette. Fine. So here I am able to create my Maven project. So once I create the Maven project, it will prepare a folder structure. Guys, let's understand what is the folder structure that we are getting when we create a Maven project. So when we create the Maven project, suppose here my app is the name of the project. I have given the project name as my app. Inside this my app, it will create a folder structure like this, SRC main Java. And we will have the folder structure SRC main resources. SRC main Java, SRC main resources will be available, and SRC test Java will be available. SRC test resources will be available. SRC main Java, SRC main resources, SRC test Java, SRC test resources, and we have one file with a name called form.xml. This is the folder structure of our Maven project. This is the folder structure of our Maven project. Sir, what is this folder structure indicating? Here, first thing is form.xml. For every Maven project, form.xml is very important. Without form.xml, we cannot use the Maven project, guys. Without form.xml, there is no Maven. Inside this form.xml, we are going to configure Maven dependencies. I want to download Hibernate for my project. I want to download Spring for my project. What are the dependencies that are required for the project? Those dependencies we will configure in the form.xml. Form.xml is called as Maven configuration file, project object model. The full form of the form, project object model. In the form.xml, we are going to configure Maven dependencies. And the next one, here we are having SRC main Java. In the SRC main Java, we will write source code of our project, our DAO classes, our service classes, our POJO classes. What are the classes we want to develop in our project? Those classes we will create inside SRC main Java folder. Source code will be developed in the main Java folder. Source code will be available. Now, for that source code, I want to use some configuration files. Config files we are going to write in the SRC main resources folder. Our properties files, our YML files, our configuration files. What are the configuration files you want to use in the project? Those configuration files will be creating in the main resources folder. To execute our source code, what are the configuration files are required? Those configuration files will create in the resources folder. And in my project, I want to implement unit testing. Unit test classes we will create in the SRC test folder. SRC test Java folder is available. In this SRC test Java folder, we will create JUnit classes. What are the unit testing classes that are required for the project? Those unit test classes we are creating in the SRC test Java folder. For unit testing, whatever the configuration is required, those configuration files we will write in the SRC test resources folder. SRC test resources contain config files for unit testing. Config files for unit testing. Main resources will contain config files for our source code. Form.xml file, it is called as project object model Maven configuration. Form stands for project object model. Project object model, it is Maven config file. What are the dependencies that we need for our project? Those dependencies we are going to configure in the form.xml file only. This is Maven project folder structure. If you create either standalone application or web application, the structure is same. For web application, web app folder will be available. For standalone application, web app folder will not be available. Web content folder will be there for the web application. For standalone application, that folder will not be available. Can you tell me what is form.xml? Form stands for project object model. What we will do by using form.xml? We are going to write the Maven configuration. What all the dependencies that are required for the project, we are going to configure in the form.xml. Can you tell me what is a dependency? What is a dependency? The jars that are required for our project. I want a Hibernate, I want Spring, I want Spring Boot, I want a JUnit, I want JUnit, I want Apache Kafka, I want a Swagger. Any dependency that is required for the project, we are going to configure in the form.xml. Form stands for project object model. It contains Maven configuration. What is the meaning of SRC main Java? What is the meaning of SRC main Java? It contains main source code of the project. Our Java classes, which contains the business logic, those classes will be in the main Java. What is main resources? What is the main resources? What all the configuration files are required? Those configuration files we will keep in the resources folder. What is the test Java? What is the test Java? It is going to contain JUnit code. In future, whatever the classes we are writing, for those classes we need to write the unit test classes to test the behavior. The unit test classes we will write in the test Java folder. Then what is test resources folder? Configuration files which are required for the unit testing, we are keeping in the test resources folder. Are you clear with the folder structure? Yes. This folder structure is a standard for all the Maven projects, right? Now, SRC, inside the SRC, main will be available, test will be available. In the main, Java will be available, resources will be available. In the test, Java will be available, resources will be available. And we are having form.xml. Now, once we create the project, then we can execute our Maven goals, guys. Can you guys tell me what is a Maven goal? Can you guys tell me what is a Maven goal? Can you tell me what is a Maven goal? Come on, man. What is a Maven goal? What is the purpose of Maven goal? Let me change the font. All right. Font size I want to change. Where is that? Appearance, light theme, font size. Okay, later I will see that. Fine. So I'm able to create my Maven project and we understood what is the folder structure of the Maven. Now I want to perform Maven build process. To perform the build process, what Maven has given? Goals. What is the purpose of the goals? Goals are used to perform Maven build process. So for every goal, Maven has provided a concept called plugin. For every Maven goal, we have a Maven plugin. Maven, every Maven goal is having Maven plugin to perform operation. Now I will execute Maven clean goal. When I execute Maven clean goal, Maven clean plugin will execute. It will delete the .class files available in the project. Okay. I will execute Maven compile goal. When I execute Maven compile goal, then what will happen? When I execute Maven compile goal, what will happen? It will compile source code of the project. For the compile plugin is available. When I execute to test plugin is going to execute. When I execute to package, either jar plugin or var plugin will execute. When I execute the install goal, install plugin will execute. For every goal, Maven provided a plugin. Maven goal is having, every Maven goal is having Maven plugin to perform the operation. Now, when you are executing a Maven goal, you make sure that you are pointing to the Maven project directory. You make sure that you are pointing to Maven project directory. In Maven project, what are the folders available now? Currently, what folders available? Currently, we are having only SRC folder and form.xml. Now, let me execute a goal, MVN compile. What is the goal I am executing? MVN compile. What is the purpose of MVN compile? It is used to compile the project source code. Execute it, MVN compile. Now see here, compile, it loaded Maven resources and compile is executed. When it executed the compile, then it created one folder called target folder. Inside the target folder, classes will be available. Now you can see app.class. What is the meaning of the app.class? Our project source code is compiled and it generated that source compiled code into target folder. Now I want to delete the .class files. What is the goal? What is the goal? MVN clean goal. When I execute MVN clean plugin will execute, and what it has done? Target folder is deleted. So if you want to delete the .class file, what is the goal we need to execute? MVN clean. When I execute the clean goal, what happened? It deleted my target folder. Inside the target folder, our bytecode will be available. Now, I want to compile once again. Can you tell me how to compile? MVN clean compile. Can I execute both at a time? Yes. What is the meaning of clean compile? Delete the old target folder and compile the project again. Execute it. Clean compile. Okay. Clean is executed. Compile is also executed and the target folder is generated. Can you see what is there in the target folder? Classes folder is available. Inside the classes folder, we have app.class. That means our Java files are compiled and generated the .class file. Okay. Now I want to package my application. This is a standalone application or web application? Standalone application or web application? It is a standalone application. Standalone application will be packaged as a jar file or var file? Jar file. So do I need to create the jar or I can ask Maven to create the jar? We can ask Maven to create the jar, right? What is the goal we need to execute? MVN clean package. What is the goal? MVN clean package. When you execute the package goal, Maven will execute compile plus test also. It will execute compile plus test also. What is the meaning of compile? Compile the source code. What is the meaning of Maven test? Execute the JUnits. Let's execute MVN test first. Then what happened? What happened, guys? It is executing the test cases which are available in the project. There is one app test class is created I created the test class. Maven created that test class. Maven created that test class. App test is available. App test is available. Open with some notepad. Open with notepad. Let me show you what is this @test. @test coming from where? JUnit. So when we create a Maven project, by default one Java class is created and one JUnit class also created. I want to run this JUnit. We don't know what is JUnit at this moment. But how to run the JUnit by using Maven? Which goal I have executed? MVN test goal I have executed. What is the purpose of test goal? What is the purpose of test goal? To execute the unit test cases. Now, can I delete this target folder? What is there in the target? Just dot class files are available. I have deleted that. Can I delete the SRC? Why? SRC folder will contain our project source code. We should not delete that. Whenever we execute Maven clean compile, target will be deleted and it will compile the project. Dot class files will be generated in the target directory. I want to package my project. In order to package my project, I will go for MVN clean package. When I use MVN clean package, that means what? Delete the target folder, compile the project, execute the test cases, and package the project as a jar file or war file based on the archetype. Which archetype I use? Quick start. Quick start represents standalone. Standalone project should be packaged as jar file. Maven will create jar file for the project and it will store that jar file in the target folder. Are you getting my point? Whenever you do Maven package, that Maven will compile the project, will test the project, will package the project. That package file will be created in the target directory. So tomorrow, when we want to deploy the Maven project, where the war file will be available? Where the war file will be available? Inside the target directory. DevOps people will take the war file from our target directory, will deploy to the Tomcat server. Are you getting my point? Yes. Now let me execute the package. So delete the target. Target is not available. Go to this command prompt. MVN clean package. I'm executing my clean package goal. Now can you see test is executed? Yes or no? Compiler is executed? Yes. Go to the target directory. Can you see Maven project jar is created? So what is the name available for the jar? Artifact name -version. What is the version of the project? Snapshot. Why it is taking snapshot? Under development. Where that version is there, that version name will be available in our form.xml. As of now, I did not open the form.xml. We are just trying to create the project and execute the Maven goals. Are you clear with my point? Yes. I want to delete this project and I want to create again. Close the command prompt. Yeah. So this is my command prompt. Close the command prompt. Let me delete this project. Okay. So this project is used. Yes. Now delete this project. Yes, I don't have that project. Now I want to create a Maven project from the command prompt and I want to package that project as a jar file. Do you know the process? Yes, come on, fast. I need to open the command prompt. Open CMD. My command prompt is open. I want to create a Maven project. How to create the Maven project? By using a command. Here I have given the creating Maven project in the CMD. Just copy this command and go to command prompt, right click. Command is there. So it is creating standalone or web application. How can you say standalone? Because there is a quick start. Click on enter. That Maven project will be created. It is creating the project in the batch mode because all the required information I have given in the command itself. Maven project is created. Yes, my app, SRC, form.xml. Now I want to package my project. Come on, guys. I want to package my project. Can I execute MVN clean package? Failed. Why? I am executing the goal from outside of the project folder. I'm executing the goal from outside of the project folder. Always your CMD should point to pom.xml location. So currently my CMD pointing to which directory? Maven practice. Is there any pom.xml available? Where the pom.xml available? In the my app directory. So we should remember this point. CD space my app. That is my project directory. Go inside the project directory. In that directory, pom.xml available. Now tell me which goal I need to execute. Come on, guys. MVN clean package. When I execute package, what will happen? It will execute compile test package. Now execute it. MVN clean package, all the goals it is executing, and it created a jar file. Where that jar file will be available? In the target directory. Can you see the jar file name? Yes, Maven created a jar file. Are you clear with my point? Now, I don't like this naming convention for the jar. I want to give my own name for the jar file. I want to create my own name for the jar file. Go to pom.xml, open this pom.xml, edit the file, open with open with notepad. Let me go for open with notepad. Just once. Right. Now can you see this is our pom.xml. Can you guys see this? This is our pom.xml. When I create the Maven project, it generated the pom.xml. Can you tell me what is the group ID? In that Ashok IT, I have given that. What is artifact ID? My app. What is the version? What is the version? Snapshot. Which version of Java it is taking? 1.7 version of the Java. Can I change it to 1.8 also? Yes, we can change the here. To configure Java version in the pom.xml, we have the properties. Which dependency is available now? Which dependency is available now? JUnit dependency is available. What are the plugins we have? Clean plugin, resources plugin, compiler plugin, surefire plugin, jar plugin, install plugin, deploy plugin, Maven site plugin, project info reports plugin. Like that, there are several plugins are available. Like that, there are several plugins are available. Let me remove that. So I have removed the plugins. I don't want to use any plugin now. Maven will internally use the plugin when I execute the Maven goal. Now here, by default, guys, whenever you package the Maven project, it will take artifact ID and version to create the jar. See here, artifact ID is my app. What is the version? Snapshot. Artifact ID plus version it is taking to create the jar file. I don't like that name. I want to customize. In order to customize our jar name or var name, in the build tag, we can write one tag called final name. I want to give as my-app. That's it. I want to write one tag called final name tag. Save it. I saved it. So in the pom.xml, there is a build tag and there is dependencies tag and there is properties tag. In the properties, you can configure which version of the Java you want to use. For compilation, for source, which version you want to use, 1.8. Which dependencies you want to use. Currently, it is adding by default JUnit dependency. What is the build file name you want? Final name. What is the final name I have given? My app. Now, save this. Go here. I want to delete the target folder and I want to package my project again. Can you tell me? How can I delete that and how can I do that? MVN clean package. MVN clean package. Now, so here it is downloading all the required plugins which are required to compile and package my project. Now, building the jar file. Which name it used for the jar file now? What is the jar file it is using now? myapp.jar. Now go to this myapp target folder. Can you see the jar which is created with a name called myapp.jar? How to customize that jar file name? How to customize the jar file name? By using final name. Where I am configuring that final name? I'm configuring that final name in the build tag. In the build tag, I'm configuring my final name. Are you clear, guys? Perfect. Tomorrow, once our project development is completed, then what I will do? I will remove the version as a snapshot. I will keep this as a release. What is the meaning of release? Production. Project development got completed. Snapshot means under development. Release means development got completed. Are you clear? Yes, perfect. With this, we are able to understand how to create a Maven project and how to execute the Maven goals. Can you tell me what is a Maven goal? What is a Maven goal? Maven goals are used to perform Maven build process. What are the Maven goals available? Clean, compile, test, package, install. What is purpose of clean? Clean is used to delete .class files or delete a target folder. It is going to delete the target folder. What will be there in the target folder? .class files will be available and jar or war file also will be available. What is the compile? Compiling the source code. What is the test? Execute the JUnit. What is the package? Create jar file or war file. How Maven will understand whether it should create a jar file or war file? Based on the packaging type. Based on the packaging type will be decided by archetype. Quick start means jar, web app means war. Right, fine. Now I want to creating Maven standalone project. This project is web application or standalone? It is a standalone project. It is standalone project. Now I want to create web application, guys. So to create the web application, what is the change I need to do? Here, what is the archetype available? Quick start. Let me change the archetype to web app. Okay. So here, if you give Maven archetype as quick start, standalone project will be created. When I give Maven archetype as a web app, web application will be created. Let me give the web application name as web app. Artifact ID represents project name, group ID, company name, archetype, project template. Right. Now, let me take this command. Go to CMD. Currently, my CMD pointing to my app. Come out from that. CD double dot. I came back to Maven practice directory. In the Maven practice directory, already we have my app. In this location, I want to create one more project. This time, I want to create a web application. Okay, let's take this command. I have changed the archetype and I have changed the project name also. Copy this command. Copy this command. Go here. It is not copied. Right. Copy this command. Go to the CMD and I am executing this command. Observe what is the archetype I have given? Web app. Okay. Enter. Enter. Now, so what happened now? Maven web application got created. Go here and check it. Web project is created or not. So with this, we are able to create the Maven web application. Any change in the directory structure? SRC form.xml. Go to SRC main. What is there? For the web application, we got the web app. In the web app, what is there? Web.inf. What is there? Web.xml. And we got the index. That is a JSPP. Let me do one thing. File Explorer options. Let me view hide extension for known file types. Show hidden files. Now, what is this file created? .jsp. What is this? Web.xml. That means, am I able to create a web application by using Maven? Yes, we are able to create a web application by using Maven. Now, I want to compile and package this project. How can I do that? I have a Maven web application. I want to package this web application. Come on, guys. How to do that? MVN clean package. Okay. Can I execute from here? What will happen if I execute from here? What will happen if I execute from here? Build failure. Build failure. What I need to do? I need to change the directory. So cd space web application. Now, in this web application currently, target directory available, target directory not available, target directory not available. Now, let me compile and package. MVN clean package. Packaging this web application. Now, can you see target is created? Now, inside the target, war file is available or not? Yes, Maven is compiling our project and packaging our project as a jar file or war file. Are you able to understand this? Any confusion? No. So tell me, what is Maven? What is the purpose of the Maven now? What is Maven? What is the purpose of the Maven now? Maven is a build tool which is used to automate the build process of our Java projects. Maven is a build tool developed by Apache organization and it is developed by using Java, and Maven is a free software. Maven is used to automate build process of the project. What Maven can do? Maven can create the project folder structure. It is able to create the standalone project. It is able to create the web application. And Maven is able to download required dependencies also. I will show you how to add the dependency. And add the dependencies to the build path. Compile the project source code. Execute unit test cases. Package our project as a jar file or war file. The next one, environment setup. Download and install the Java software. Set the Java home. We have done that setup. Can you tell me terminology? What is Maven terminology? What is archetype? What is archetype? Archetype represents type of the project we want to create. Quick start. Quick start represents standalone. Quick start represents standalone. Web app represents web application. Group ID represents organization name. Artifact ID represents project name. Version represents project version. Snapshot or release. What is the meaning of snapshot? Snapshot means project under development. What is the release? Development completed. What is packaging? How you want to package your application? You want to go for jar file or war file? Maven goals. Maven goals are used to perform Maven build process. What are the goals available? Clean, compile, test, package, install. We did not understand install. We'll come to that. What is the clean goal? What is the clean goal? Delete the target folder. So whenever you compile your project, target folder will be created. In order to delete the target folder, we are going to use clean goal. Then what is the compile? It is used to compile source code of the project. What is the tester? It is used to execute the unit test. What is the package? Create a jar file or war file. What is install? Store the artifact into artifact repository. We'll come to that. What is Maven plugin? Maven goal is having every Maven goal is having Maven plugin to perform the operation. So you can execute this command to create the standalone project. You can execute this command to create the web application. Once a Maven project is created, we need to execute Maven goals from Maven project directory. We need to locate where the pom.xml file is available. So for every Maven project, pom.xml file will be created. Can you guys tell me what is that pom.xml? What is the pom.xml? POM stands for Project Object Model. We will configure Maven dependencies in the pom.xml. What is the dependency? The jar that we want to download for our project. So Maven dependencies we will configure in pom.xml file. We need to execute Maven goals from project directory. We need to execute Maven goals from project directory. If you don't execute from the project directory, Maven goals will not be executed. Are you comfortable with my point? Right. But as a Java developer, we will work with the IDEs. We will work with the IDE. I want to create the project from the IDE. Let me create one JRTP workspace. This is my workspace folder. Let me select it. Give this. I'm pointing to JRTP workspace. Launch. From now, I want to create the project from IDE. I want to execute the goals also from the IDE directly. Yes, my IDE is opening. Perfect. So I opened my Spring Tool Suite IDE. Okay. Here we have an option called file option. We have an option called file. File, new, go to other. In the Eclipse or in the Spring Tool Suite or in the IntelliJ, by default Maven will be available. You don't need to do any setting for that. You don't need to do any setting for that. By default, Maven will be available. Go to file, new, other, Maven. Can you see the option? Maven is available by default. Select Maven project. Click on next. Here, when I am trying to create a Maven project, it is asking create a simple project. What is the meaning of simple project? Standalone. Suppose I want to create a web application. I need to go to the next, and here archetype will be loaded. Here archetype is loaded. Type the archetype as a web app. You need to find out Maven archetype. Apache.maven.maven Apache web app. Okay, guys. Here Maven web app archetype, not this. Archetype web app. Let us see here. Yes. Maven archetype web app. This one we have to select to create the web application. org.apache.maven.archetypes Maven archetype web app. If I go for this option, what will happen? Quick start. Standalone project will be created. Click on next. What is group ID? Organization name. In.Ashok IT. Artifact ID. I want to create one Spring application. I want to create one Spring application. 01 Spring app. Version. Snapshot. Packaging type. jar or var or POM. Currently we are going for which option? Jar. Click on finish. Click on finish. So with this, my Spring project is getting, normal Maven project is getting created. When this Maven project is created, by default, which version of Java it is taking? It is taking 1.5. Right click on this, build path, configure build path, library. Let us change from 1.5. Currently, is it available, the latest version of Java? Now, see here, how to add the Java to the Maven project build path. Observe carefully. Currently, my project is having JRE. For development, JRE required or JDK required? For development, JRE required or JDK required? JDK required. But currently it is using what? JRE. I want to remove the JRE and I want to add the JDK. So right click on the project. Go to build, observe carefully the steps I am doing. Right click on the project, build path, configure build path. Go to libraries. In the libraries, what is available? JRE available. Click on edit. Click on edit. Select alternate JRE. Currently, JDK displaying or JDK not displaying? Not displaying. But in my system, JDK is already installed. I want to tell to my IDE where is the Java installed in our system. Java JDK. In the C program files, Java JDK is available. Go to IDE, alternate JRE, click on installed JREs. When I click on, currently only JRE available. Click on add. Click on standard VM. Click on next. Click on directory. What I am going to select? JDK folder. I will select the JDK folder and I will click on finish. Now I will select JDK. Earlier, JRE is selected. Now I added JDK. I selected JDK. Apply. Apply and close. Now in the drop down, can you see JDK is coming? Now JDK coming. Click on finish. Click on apply. Apply and close. Now can you see JDK is pointing? Earlier it is pointing to JRE. Now it is pointing to JDK. Do you understand how to change that? Yes. Right click. Build path. Configure build path, libraries, select that, edit, install JRE, select add, standard VM, and select the directory of the JDK folder. Like that you need to add it. Once you have added that, you can select the JDK from the drop down. Click on finish, apply, close. So with this, my Maven project is created. Can you see in this Maven project, what is the first one? SRC main Java. What is the meaning of SRC main Java? Project source code will be available. What is the main resources? Configuration files will keep in the resources. What is the test Java? Unit test code will be available. What is the test resources? Configuration files required for the unit testing. What is the target? SRC means complete SRC data will be available in this folder. And what is this target? What is the target, guys? Dot class files will be available in the target. What is the pom.xml? Pom.xml will contain the dependencies. Currently, in my pom.xml, any dependencies are available? Dependencies are not available? Dependencies are not available. Now I want to add the dependency in my project. I want to use the Spring in my project. So now I want to add Spring dependency in my project. Okay, let's see. From where we can find out the dependency? From where we need to find the dependency? Yes, we need to go for a website called mbnrepository.com. Let me type Spring context. Click on search. Spring context is available. Go here, select the which version you want. You can select the 6 version or 5 version, anything is fine. Let me go with 5.3.25. Copy this dependency and let me go for pom.xml. What I mean, man? Today I will call that man. Right. So here I have pom.xml. I copied that pom.xml dependency, guys. From which website I am taking the dependency? MBN repository. From the MBN repository, I copied that. Now here we need to add dependencies. In that we are configuring our dependency. Now, when I save this file, it will download Spring context jar file. It will add the jar file to project build path. Are you guys getting my point? Here, am I adding the jars to the build path or Maven is adding these jar files to the build path? Maven is I have added context, but what jars it downloaded? It downloaded AOP, it downloaded beans, context, for expression, JCL. This concept is called transitive dependency management. That means my project want to use context, but the context requires core dependency. I need one project. That project requires the other project. Okay. Whenever you add one dependency, Maven will identify what are the dependencies required for the context dependency. It is downloading those dependencies also. That concept is called transitive dependency management. That means all the Dependent dependencies also it is downloading. I want the context, but for the context, core is required, beans is required, AOP is required. So Maven identified what all the dependencies required to work with the context. It downloaded those dependencies also. So that is called as transdiv dependency management. What is that? Transdiv dependency management. What is the meaning of transdiv dependency management? Downloading all the required dependencies. Downloading all the required dependencies is called as transdiv dependency management. Are you guys getting my point? Now you see here, can you check the path? From where this jar file is coming to my project, Spring context path. C users admin.m2 repository org Spring framework Spring context. That means Maven is having a concept called repository. Maven is having a concept called repository. Concept is available. So now we can add the dependency in the pom.xml. Here, if you observe, in the pom.xml, I have added these dependencies. Okay, from where we can find the Maven dependencies? We can find Maven dependencies in mbnrepository.com. Okay, so we can find Maven dependencies in the repository.com. When we add one dependency, when we add above dependency, Maven downloading Spring core, Spring beans, and Spring AOP also. This is called as transdiv dependency management. This is called as transdiv dependency management. What is the meaning of transdiv dependency management? What is the meaning of transdiv dependency management? Downloading all the required dependencies based on that is called as transdiv dependency management. Now the question is, how Maven downloading the dependency? Downloading dependency nothing but jar files it is downloading. Where those jar files available? How it is coming to M2 folder? There is a concept called Maven repositories. We need to understand a concept called Maven repositories. What is a repository? Maven repository means a place where all the jars will be stored. Maven repository means a place where all jars will be stored. Maven repository means a place where all the jars will be stored. In Maven, we have three types of repositories. Are you guys getting my point? In Maven, we have three types of repositories. First one is called central repository. Second one is called remote repository. And the third one is called local repository. How many repositories are available in the Maven? Come on, guys. How many repositories available in the Maven? There are three types of repositories available in the Maven. One is called central repository. Second one is called remote repository. Third one is called local repository. Now, how these repositories are going to work in the Maven? Central repository will be maintained by Apache organization. Central repository will be maintained by Apache organization. Apache organization. Okay. Sorry. Let me name it as central repo. Who will maintain the central repo? Who is maintaining that now? Why Apache maintaining? Maven is Apache product. Maven software developed by Apache. Those Apache people maintaining this central repository. Apache organization is maintaining that central repository. Now, in my project, in my system, I am creating a Maven project. In my system, I'm creating a Maven project. When we create a Maven project in our system, Maven will create its own repository in my system that is called local repository, that is .m2. In our machine, Maven will maintain one repository. That repository is called as local repository. Always our Maven project is connected to local repository only. Are you getting my point? How many times? What is repository in the Maven? What is repository in the Maven? Maven repository means a place where all the jars will be stored. How many types of repositories we have in the Maven? There are 3 types of repositories in the Maven. What are those 3 types? First one is called central repository. Second one is called remote repository. Third one is called local repository. Who will maintain the central repository? Apache organization will maintain that central repository. Okay. In my system, if you go to C, users, admin, there is a folder called .m2. In the .m2, there is a repository. In that repository, all my jars are available. If you go to org.springframework, org, then Spring Framework, then Spring Context 5.3.25. Can you see Spring Context jar is available? So that means whenever we add a dependency in the pom.xml, then my Maven project will go to local repository. It will check in the local, do we have that dependency or not? Always our Maven project will check for the dependency in the local repository. Where is that local repository? In our system with the .m2 folder. Now, that's why if you see our project build path, the jar files are coming from which path, guys? C users admin.m2 repository, this version of the jar file. So jars are downloaded to our local repository. Who downloaded the jars to local repository? Maven downloaded the jars to local repository. From where it downloaded? From central repository to local repository, from the local repository to project build path. Are you getting my point? Why? Because same dependency, if you add in the another project, it will not download again, because already it is downloaded from the central, it is added to local, from the local it will add it to the project build path. Now that's why when you see the project, the Maven dependencies, all the jar files are coming from .m2. What is that .m2? .m2 is our local repository. Now observe carefully. Are you getting bored or understanding? Yes. What is repository? Repository is a place where the Maven jar files will be available. How many repositories are supported by Maven? 3. What are those 3? Central, remote, and local. Now, I am creating a Maven project. In my Maven project, I am adding a dependency. Where the Maven will search for that dependency? Always it is going to search for the dependency in the local. For example, that dependency available in the local. Then directly take that, add to the project build path. For example, that dependency not available in the local. When the dependency not available in the local, then local repository will connect to the central repository, will download the dependency from the central to local. From the local, it will add the dependency to the project build path. Are you getting my point? Okay. We understood what is local repository and what is central repository. Are you able to follow me? So who is maintaining central repository? Apache. All the jars are available in the Apache central repository. The dependencies that we want to use, we will add in the form.xml. Maven will check in the local. If not available in the local, Maven will connect it to the central. From the central, it will download to local. From the local, it will add to the project. Are you getting my point? Yes, perfect. Now, Spring dependency is common for everybody. Every Java programmer will use the Spring dependency. That's why Spring people kept that dependency in the central repository. Everybody can download that and can use it. Now here in my company, we are developing several Java projects. For those my projects, I want to use some functionality which is common for multiple projects in my company. So I have developed some security logic. That security logic is required for only my company project. Other companies should not access. Whatever the jar is available, that jar should be used by only my company projects. Then your company will create a remote repository. Every company will maintain their own remote repositories. Every company will maintain their own remote repository. Sir, the remote repository is specific to company. Some common jar files I will take from the central repository. My company specific jar files I will take from the remote repository. In the Maven project, I am going to configure, hey, some jar files you get from the central repository, some jar files you get from the remote repository. That means in the real time, in the training, we are connecting to the central repository, we are downloading. When we go for the real project, some dependencies which are used by only our company, those dependencies will be available in the remote repository. Who will maintain the remote repository? Our company will maintain that. In our company, we are going to create a remote repository. To create the remote repository, there will be a software called Nexus or JFrog. Companies will install Nexus or JFrog software. In the Nexus or JFrog, these people will upload the jar files. Those jar files I want to use in my project. Those jar files I want to use in my project. Then the remote repository contains the jar files. The jar files which we are keeping in the remote repository, those jar files are called as shared jar files, shared libraries. That means in our company, multiple projects will be available. Multiple projects will take the jar files from the remote repository. Other company people cannot access. That shared library should be accessed by only our company project. Company specific jars will be available in the remote repository. The common jars will be available in the central repository. Now, our local repository should download some dependencies from the central, should download some dependencies from the remote, and should keep in the local. From the local, it should add to the project. Are you guys getting my point? Once you join in the company, they will give you the details of the remote repository. What is the URL of the repository? What is the dependency? Sir, now you may ask a question. Sir, who will upload that jar into remote repository? DevOps people will do that. So in the project, DevOps team will be available. DevOps people will upload that jar file into remote repository. They will give you the remote repository details. Those remote repository details you need to configure in your form.xml. Then your Maven project can connect to the remote repository. Wait, I will show you. We are not only Java, we are into DevOps also. Right? I will show you how that remote repository configuration will be done. Fine. Let's go to one of my DevOps class. Currently, it is running morning 7 a.m. 1st February, the batch is started. For them, I explained already Nexus nodes. Okay. if I go to the Nexus, these all are Linux based operations, guys. Integrate Maven with the Nexus. What is this? Snapshot. What is this? Release. So what is this? Under development, it will go to snapshot. If the project development is completed, it is release. Okay. Now here, what is this concept? Remote repository. Where I explained this concept? In the DevOps, because DevOps people are going to create the remote repository. DevOps people are going to upload the jar files into the remote repository. What is this? Remote repository is used for shared library, common jars for the project. In my company, there are 3 projects available on the Java. For these 3 projects, one common jar file is available. That common jar file I will upload into shared library. If you want to use a few jar files in multiple projects in the company, then we will use remote repository. Remote repository is specific to our company projects. So in the Nexus, they will do this operation. They will upload the whatever the common jar file is available. They will upload the common jar file to remote repository. Now, once they uploaded the jar into remote repository, as a developer, you need to do these operations. Okay, guys. What is this URL representing? Ashok IT remote repository. So in the remote repository, I have uploaded a jar file to secure the password. So this is in.ashok IT group ID. Password utils is the artifact ID. Version is 1.0. This dependency will be available in the central repository, or the dependency will be available in the remote repository. The dependency will be available in the remote repository. How that Maven should know that? How Maven will know it should connect to the remote? In the form.xml, we need to configure the repositories tag. In the form.xml, we need to configure repositories tag. So what is the meaning of repositories tag in the form.xml? It should connect to Nexus. This is there a loose connection? I will call that guy today to check that issue. Loose connection. Yeah, fine, guys. So here, one dependency we will upload into our remote repository. How our form.xml should know that? How our form.xml will know? It has to download some dependency from the remote repository. How this form.xml will know that? It has to download the dependency from the remote repository. DevOps people will give you remote repository details. This DevOps people will give you remote repository details. Like this, in our form.xml, above the dependencies, we configure remote repository details. Are you getting my point? In the form.xml, I will configure repository. Which repository? Nexus. Is it available for everybody? Only for our company. Only for our company. So like this, DevOps people will give the URL of the remote repository. That remote repository URL we need to configure in the form.xml. In that remote repository, there is a dependency called Ashok IT password utils available. This dependency I want to use in my project. Now, in my form.xml, how many dependencies are available? How many dependencies are available in the form.xml? 2 dependencies are available. One is the Spring context. Another one is the password utils. Where the Spring context will be available? Central, because it is common for everybody. Anybody can download the Spring dependency from the central. What about this password utils? That is my company specific dependency that will be downloaded from the remote repository. Who can access that remote repository? Only our company projects can access that. This is called real time. In the real time, every project will have the remote repository. Tomorrow when you go for the interview, they will ask, so do you know how to work with the remote repository? Only our institute people will tell that. Because we are practically going to see this, how to configure central repository dependencies, how to configure remote repository dependencies. Are you getting my point? Yes. So with this we understood what is Maven repository and how to work with Maven repository. What is repository, guys? What is repository? Repository means a place where all the jars will be stored. How many types of repositories we have? 3. Central, remote, local. What is the meaning of local? The repository which is available in our system, local repository.em2. All the dependencies which we are adding in the pom.xml, Maven will download those dependencies and will add to our local repository. When the local does not have the dependency, first it will check in the central. First will check in the central. If it is available in the central, it will download. Suppose if you configure remote, then it will check in the remote. If it is available in the remote, download and add to local. From the local, it will add to Maven build path. Suppose in 2 projects, I am adding same dependency. Will it download 2 times or only 1 time? It will download only 1 time. For example, here in my project, in my system, Spring dependency available. Suppose the context is available, I am deleting the context. I deleted the context. When I delete the context, then what happening? It is going to download from the central and it will add it to our local. Let us see here. It is downloading the dependencies. It is downloading it is trying to download from where? First it is trying to download from where? Remote. It is trying to download from the remote. Is it available in the remote? Not available in the remote. Not available. So let me remove this. It is not required now. Save this. Now from where it is going to download? It is going to download from the central repository. It is downloading from the central repository. When you add the remote, it will try to get it from the remote. When the remote is not available, you will try to get it from the central. Perfect. So in the project, few dependencies it will download from the central, few dependencies it will download from the remote. So if you want to use the remote, you have to configure that in the pom.xml. Are you clear with my point? Yes. Now it will download the context, and that context we can see here. It is still downloading. Whenever you add the dependency for first time, internet connection is mandatory. Why? Because Maven should download the dependency from the central to local. Once it is downloaded, from next time it is not required. Are you clear? Yes. So with this, what we understood? Maven we understood. Okay. Maven goals, Maven. Monday we are going to discuss that. Perfect, guys. Good. Yes, fine. So we need to understand what is Maven install goal, and we need to understand what is Maven multi-module project, that we will discuss in the next class. Simple. Maven install goal is used to store our project into local repository or remote repository. Whenever we execute the install goal, whatever the jar file or war file is creating, that jar will be uploaded to local repository. If you configure remote repository, that jar will be uploaded to remote. Install means storing our project into Maven repository. That is the install, right? So we need to understand how to work with that install, and we will understand how to work with the Maven multi-module project. Once we complete multi-module, then we are done with Maven. Monday we will complete the Maven, then I will start the GitHub. Okay? Fine, guys. Thank you. Any questions? Himanshu, how to configure Mav company remote repository? I already answered that question. right? So here to configure the remote repository, I already answered that. Here they will give you this repository detail. You need to configure in the pom.xml. Okay, Monday I will show you that remote repository configuration as well. I need to start my Nexus server in the AWS. I have those credentials in my personal laptop. I will get that. Monday I will show you how to start that remote repository, how to get it from the remote repository. We will do practicals on that. Fine. Next, Maven sub-project. That is Maven multi-module project concept. Okay. How many more free classes are available? Completed. Free classes completed, sir. Okay, good. Are you going to teach us JFrog? That is not required for the Java developer. In the DevOps, we will teach that JFrog or Nexus. Okay. Will you cover Vertex Java in the project? Vertex Java will not be covered. When do you get the new Zoom link? New Zoom link will be updated in the portal. You can access from that. Payment details, how to do. I already explained the payment details. Yes. You can take the screenshot for the payment details. Yes. Payment details you can take as a screenshot, you can complete. Then you will get the access for notes and videos on your Zoom link. Okay, fine. Sir, Java 1.8 is sufficient or we need to go for 11? 1.8 is also sufficient. Next class will be on Monday. Tomorrow no class. We have next class on Monday. Perfect. In the Monday session, we will complete our discussion related to Maven. Still some concepts are pending in the Maven. We will discuss in the Monday. Notes will be uploaded to our website. Whoever is completed the enrollment, they will get the access for the notes. Let me upload the notes into our portal. It is 23 JRTP. Guys, can you check it? Notes is available. Please confirm so that we can stop for today. Yes, available. Perfect. Thank you guys. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue on Monday. We will give the access now. We'll give the access now. Okay? Yes. Fine, guys. Thank you. The people who don't have the access, then please do this. Right. Fine. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on Monday.